Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Do It Yourself. This week's project, refinishing a dresser. This dresser is several years old and has several coats of standard paint on it. Time for a makeover. Step 1 is setting up. Make sure you have a large, well-ventilated area to work in. You will need it for 3 to 5 days. You will also need gloves, eye protection, face mask, stripper, mineral oil, a stain in the color of your choice, newspaper, paper towels, a scraper or putty knife, a screwdriver, sponge, sandpaper, 3 paintbrushes, a piece of ultrafine steel wool, and a metal pail. Now before you go any further, read the directions on the can of stripper, mineral oil, and stain. The directions will vary depending on the brand that you have purchased. The directions will give you important safety and application directions, as well as how to properly dispose of the can when you are done. Now cover your work area with newspaper and get the dresser ready to be stripped by removing the knobs and handles with the screwdriver. This way they do not get damaged during the project. Now for the stripper. Wear your safety gear for this step. Most strippers can burn your skin and create very powerful fumes. Wear the gloves and eye protection when you handle it, as well as the mask, even if your work area is very well ventilated. Because the dresser is large, you will need to work in sections for this next part. Pour some stripper into the metal pail. Choose a section of the dresser and paint a thick coat of stripper onto it. Do the same thing for a drawer or two. Most strippers take about 30 minutes to work. Now use the paper towels to wipe the sludge off the section that you have just worked on. This leaves you with a mess. Most strippers need to be reapplied to fully remove the stubborn bits of paint. Reapply the stripper as many times as needed and use the putty knife or a scraper to help loosen some of the more stubborn pieces. Be careful not to press too hard though, or you might scratch the wood. There, much better. Stripping and age can cause rough spots on the wood. Use a coarse sandpaper and hand sand the surface. This will give you a nice, smooth surface to stain. Use a damp sponge to make sure that the dust from the sanding is off of the surface and the dresser is dry. Next, paint on a layer of mineral oil, just like you would normal paint. The stripping process can remove important oils from wood, leaving it dry. The mineral oil will condition the wood so that it lasts longer. Mineral oil needs to soak in and dry over several hours. It is best to take a break now and let it dry overnight. Now that the dresser is dry, it is time to add stain. Stain is applied in even strokes that follow the grain of the wood. It is important to try and keep the coat of stain as thin and even as possible. Now this coat must fully dry before the second coat can be applied. The second coat is very important. It helps to preserve the color and protect the wood. Repeat this step until you are happy with the color. Make sure it is completely dry before you continue. Now, if you are not using a stain that has finisher mixed in, this is the step where you would paint it onto your dresser. Finisher is important. It is a clear coat that dries hard. It protects your hard work and the wood. Make sure the dresser is completely dry again. Now it is time to buff. Ultrafine steel wool is very good for buffing. Buff the newly finished dresser to add some shine. Don't press too hard though, or you might scratch your brand new finish. Now simply put the handles and knobs back on and there you have it, new and improved. Thank you for tuning into Do It Yourself. Tune in next week when we discuss removing those stubborn paint stains from concrete.